Welcome back to the Dechambros podcast. This is season 1.
We're back.
It is episode 15. We are done with the Valero, or what were you calling it this week, Tan?
The Valero. It was just a bad showing all around.
100%. And I think, obviously with it being headlined with Brian Harmon, I mean, nothing against the guy personally, but if I have to watch that man waggle his club one more time, I might quit watching professional golf. Like, I can't do it. And he was famous for saying, when he won the U.S. Open, he was famous for saying, I'm going to keep waggling until I'm ready to hit that shot. And obviously, as a major champion, it's worked out for him in the past, but it does not work for the viewership, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the way he won today, or on Sunday, sorry. I mean, he didn't even play extremely well. I think the course got a lot of people on Sunday.
Dude, the course was playing tough.
Oh, it bit. It was extremely windy, right? I mean, I think he finished +3 on Sunday. Unfortunately, no one else could take advantage of that, opportunity there. And he won by a few strokes still.
He did. Yeah, he did. So good for him. Congratulations, Brian, for winning on, a real tough course to watch. I really enjoy the 18th hole there at the Oaks course. That creek really brings in some drama if you're going to go for it and you're just a little bit short, or, it makes guys lay up. So it does add a little bit of an interesting aspect to an otherwise boring course, but definitely happy that we are done with the Valero, because this week is my absolute favorite week of the year. Tanner, it's Masters week.
It is the greatest week of the year. You're not wrong. We all wake up every morning waiting for, this week to arrive. It's finally here. I did weeks of research, and hopefully we can get some good picks out of that, because I have been Masters obsessed, some might say. I bought a Masters hat. I wish I could wear it, but we got a green screen. I know you don't see the green screen because we're amazing at computer techniques.
One of us is.
I wasn't able to wear my Masters hat this week, so I'm a little sad about that, but I'm stoked for this week. I'm ready to get going. I wish we could kind of skip some stuff here, but let's finish off last week, and let's kind of go over our 20s, 10s, and 5s.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, pretty quick 20s, 10s, and 5s, seeing as our 10s and 5s were almost identical.
They were.
My top 20 pick, of course, was Denny McCarthy. I cashed that. T18, another really good showing out of Denny on a course that he historically plays well at. So some good research on there. Got that for me. Corey Connors was my 10. T18, another good showing. It's kind of what I feared out of Corey. He was going to have a good week, but not a great week.
I mean, with Corey there, he played so consistent all week long, except for Sunday, because Sunday bit everyone. But he played well considering. He shot +2 Sunday. Had he shot even, he would have cashed my top. He would have cashed our bets.
Yeah, he would have cashed your top 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? So, it was literally 2 strokes away from being T5.
Yep.
And he ended up T18. So, I mean, I had him for top 5. You had him for top 10 there. We alternated. You had Fleetwood 5. I had Fleetwood 10. Not a great showing out of Fleetwood.
Tough showing out of Fleetwood.
I mean, it was by end of Friday, I think he was still near the top of the leaderboard. Had a little bit of a rough go Saturday, but Sunday, he finished +9 Sunday.
Tough go
to finish
for
+8
Tommy
on the tournament. So he was -1. Had he just had a decent showing Sunday, he would have had a chance to get at least a top 10 out of it. But
and a really windy day on Sunday caused a whole lot of concern for a lot of people. Not very good for some names going into this week, because, looking at the forecast moving forward, all of Masters week is going to be some tough weather out there.
Well, they even canceled the practice round for viewers today, right? So everyone's getting refunded, and they'll get first chance or first shot at Monday tickets next year. But yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a rough week with the weather out there. So that'll be a little bit exciting. But your top 20 win was the only win for us last week.
Tough showing. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those make or breaks when we have, 4 out of 6 bets that have the same names on it. We really got to either cash them or we're kind of screwed as a podcast. And that's unfortunately what happened this week. Who did you have on your top 20 again, Tan?
I had Captain Keeks. So, he finished T47 there, was one stroke out of top 20 starting Sunday, but I mean, he finished +5 Sunday, the rest of the field. It was a rough go Sunday. And it's funny, earlier this year, I said I really wanted to watch some tough golf, some low scoring golf. I barely watched golf this weekend. I mean, I was busy, had a full day of Saturday events planned. And then Sunday, I watched a bit of it. It just the leaderboard didn't get me excited for some reason. I was so pumped for Masters. I feel like a little bit of a golf hangover last week where I just wasn't in the zone to really care this weekend.
For sure.
So yeah, I mean, Captain Keeks finished T47, and I missed all three. So that's a sad day for me.
Well, let's move on, man, because I am excited to talk the Masters, and I think that you have a little something prepared that I'm really excited to hear firsthand as well.
Yeah, I got something prepared for you. So if you could do me a little favor and just press play on that button there, and we're going to get into this.
Let's get this Masters week started.
As Jim Nance always says, hello, friends, and welcome to a tradition like no other. And that tradition, the mystique and anticipation of the Masters, is like no other tournament on earth. Augusta National Golf Club is the most pristine and manicured golf course in the world, where nothing, absolutely nothing, is left to chance, where golf history is made each year, where a player's mettle is tested to the absolute max. This is the tournament where in 1997, at just age 21, golf's new phenom, Tiger Woods, exploded onto the scene in his first Masters as a pro, with a record 12-stroke victory. It's also the scene where in 2019, we got to witness the remarkable redemption of Tiger Woods as he won his first major since 2008 and his fifth green jacket, securing him the second most Masters win all time, to none other than that legend, Jack Nicklaus. Speaking of Jack, he won his sixth green jacket in 1986 at just the age of 46, a record that has since stood the test of time. From Louis Oosthuizen's legendary albatross on the par 5 second hole in 2012, to Bubba Watson's banana hook shot from the vegetation, setting up a Masters win against Oosthuizen in a playoff that very same year. From Tiger's holeout on 16 in 2005, to Phil's shot from the pine straw behind the trees on the 13th hole in 2010, curving its way onto the green, en route to winning his third green jacket. Augusta National always finds a way to force the best out of each golfer. Can Scottie Scheffler become the first player since Tiger Woods in 2001-2 to win back-to-back green jackets, and the first person ever to win 3 green jackets in the span of 4 years? Can Rory finally complete his major championship Grand Slam after wins at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am and the Players' Championship earlier this year? Can Bryson DeChambeau win his third major and first ever green jacket? My guy. Or will the likes of Aberg, Bhatia, Cantlay, Justin Thomas, Neiman, Straka, or Shane Lowry win their first green jacket? We'll be breaking down the odds and talking everything Masters today on the Dechambros podcast.
I am impressed. That is my brother, ladies and gentlemen.
Jacked up for the Masters.
What a way to start Masters week.
Woo!
If that doesn't get you pumped up, stop watching golf, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm tingling. I'm tingling.
Beautiful.
Got a little chubby too.
That, buddy, rock hard.
It's the Masters.
Let's get down and let's break down these players going into the Masters this week, Tim. Last year's champion, of course, we have none other than the king himself, Scottie Scheffler. Scottie is plus 400 to defend his title as the betting favorite.
I'm going to be honest. You're not on the right sports books, because just this morning I saw plus 450 for the win on Scottie Scheffler. So
well, it's 6 o'clock, and I did this research at 3. So
there you go.
Odds have changed.
Check your odds, friends. Check your odds,
have
friends.
changed. So I kind of wanted to start with Scottie, obviously, because we've discussed this a little bit in prior weeks on how the Scotty defending or going into to win last year is not the same Scotty defending this year. But I mean, Scotty is still playing extremely well. Like this year so far, we got a T9 at the AT&T, a T15 at the WM Phoenix Open, T3 at the Genesis, 11 at the Palmer, 20 at the Players, and then second at the Texas Houston Open. So he's right there. Like he's not winning, you know what I mean, at the clip that he was last year. But he's still playing a very, very high level of golf, and he's always played a high level of golf here at Augusta. Going back to, you know, his first year in 2020, 19th, then 18th. He followed that up with a win, a 10, and a win. So Scotty Scheffler, you have him at plus 450 to win. I have him, unfortunately, at plus 400. What's your thoughts on Scotty going into the Masters this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. So, two-time major champion, of course, both Masters there. I'm a little down on Scotty this year as far as Masters is concerned. Can he win? Yeah. Is he still one of the two best golfers in the world? Yes, 100%. But if you're seeing plus 400 currently odds, I just think there's better money to be made in the field. And it's not that because he hasn't won this year. It's not that he doesn't have great stats. I'm going to go through some of these stats here. He's the best golfer in the world for a reason, right? You know, shots gained or strokes gained off the tee, 6th on the PGA Tour. Strokes gained approach, 7th on tour. Around the green, he's 53rd. Putting, he's 42. And, you know, strokes gained total, he's 3rd on tour this year. So can he win? Yeah. Do I think it's a smart bet at plus 400 when there's other people that have very similar stats this year, are, you know, trending in the right direction as well and have better odds to win? Yeah. So in my head, I think I'd rather put my money elsewhere. But I mean, you can't say that Scotty doesn't have a chance. He's got as good of a chance as any, if not better than most, right? So
for sure, I'm 100% with you there. And I love that you're the stats guy. I actually got a pretty cool stat. A little birdie told me, right? The most important stat coming into Augusta is going to be tee to green. So out of the last 12 winners, 10 of them were 1.7 strokes gained or higher tee to green, right? So Scotty, of course, this year being one of them, but you're very much so correct. There are more golfers out there that lead that stat line that have just way better odds to look at than Scotty. Plus 400, like that's a crazy, crazy thing to be able to bet. I mean, I feel like there's better money out there. I'm excited, you know, to see Scotty play. I'd love to see him, you know, make history and win his 3rd green jacket in 4 years there. I just, you know, of the top 2 favorites there, my money's on Rory. I've actually even put money on Rory already this year for him to win the Masters. So I think that, you know, is one of them. But looking at Rory here, you know, I had him at plus 650 earlier this morning. Yeah, so did I.
To win. You know, plus 115 for a top 5 there. But he's 4-time major champion, you know, U.S. Open, the Open, PGA Championship 2 times. Last 5 times at the Masters, you know, he had a T22, a missed cut, second, a T5, and a T21. Coming off 2 wins this year already, like we talked about earlier. His last appearance at T5, when it looked like he was dead in the water on cut day, pulls one out, you know, of the hat there and birdies 4 out of his last 5 and ends up with a T5. You know, he's strokes gained off the tees, first on tour. He's first strokes gained total on tour. He's 10th putting. He's 19th approach and 30th around the green. Like he has put himself in the best position in his entire career to win that Grand Slam this year, in my opinion.
100%. I'm definitely high on Rory as well. But the question still remains, like, can Rory finally do it at the Masters? Like, the Masters has always been the Achilles heel of Rory. And just like you kind of said, I mean, a couple of missed cuts in the last 5 years, some higher, you know, not cracking the top 20, but he does have those close calls, especially looking back at 2022 when he came second. Like, I remember watching that tournament
John Rahm,
and thinking, hey, this is the year that Rory can finally do it. And like, how many years am I going to say this is the year that Rory can do it?
Yeah. I mean, like, going all the way back to even 2011, he was leading on day 4 going into it, and he had that horrible drive on 10, and it started the meltdown of Rory, which has literally cursed his entire career. I don't know. I feel like in the last few years, it's felt like Rory's taken on a lot of the pressure of the tour with Liv. He's, been the champion of the tour. This year, it just feels like, back to when he took that phone, you're like, oh, like, I love that about him. That like it seems like a different Rory this year, and like I truly am putting my money where my mouth is with Rory. I really, really like Rory this year, and I think this is the year.
The attitude era of Rory is here, and is that what is going to take the edge in having Rory finally put on that green jacket, and for us to witness history in him having his career Grand Slam? That would be a phenomenal Sunday for him.
It'd be amazing. I mean, like, so you brought up the tee to green there. It's funny how many people put out great stats leading up and what's important, what isn't, because I saw a few things here, and it really kind of promotes Rory as being the front runner of this tournament here. So it goes, the last 7 of 7 Masters winners were top 30 official world golf rankings, finished top 15 at least one of the last 2 majors, has a prior top 5 in a major, has a top 5 this year, is top 25 strokes gained tee to green, and top 50 strokes gained approach. Rory, Morikawa, Hideki, Shane Lowry, and Russell Henley are the only 5 golfers this year that
have all those.
Thank you, yes.
Yeah.
Taking it a little further, of that list, of the last 10 Masters champions, each of them have averaged 2.17 strokes gained per round leading up to their Masters win. Of those 5 players, Rory is currently sitting at 2.31 strokes gained per round, Morikawa at 2.18 strokes gained per round, and then we go all the way down to Lowry at 1.55, Henley at 1.49, and Hideki at 1.20. So it makes you think Rory is, leading the way in a lot of these categories that people really value around Augusta. So
yeah, it seems like all roads lead to Rory putting on a green jacket this year.
And if I know anything, when a bet makes so much sense to me that like there's no other way it's not going to work out. And it's going to be the complete opposite. Every time I'm like, oh, I did so much research, there's no way. How he's done this. That person,
yeah, that doesn't fare well for me, because Rory's definitely my front runner for,
He's my guy.
for winning the tournament
I love
as
Rory,
well.
yeah.
So let's move a little bit down the list, because there's a whole lot of players that are playing in the Masters, and there's a whole lot of players from Liv. Like, going down to our third odds favorite is Johnny Rahm at plus 1,400. So I thought this was a perfect time to kind of segue and talk a little bit about the Liv golfers who are playing this week and are playing against, the top golf professionals on the PGA Tour. So, I mean, let's kind of start with John. I mean, John famously broke all of our hearts when he announced he was going to Liv, especially after he just, pled his fealty to the PGA Tour. And
fealty, that's a nice one.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
I know. I've been reading the dictionary. He did it in a little bit of style with that Letterman jacket, and it was just one of those things that it was like, fuck, we lost John Rahm now too. But the big worry that I had for John was that when he left to Liv and he didn't have as much competition as he had on the PGA Tour, that his game was going to start to diminish as well. And that really isn't what we've been seeing. I mean, this year on Liv, I'm going to be very honest, I haven't watched much of it, or as much as I really have wanted to, but John Rahm's been playing really good golf. Out of 5 tournaments, he's cracked the top 10 all 5 times. He started off the season with a T2, finished with a 6th and a 6th at Liv Adelaide in Hong Kong, 5th in Singapore, and then 9th this week at Liv Miami. So, like, John is still in great form coming into the Masters. He obviously won his jacket. He had it put over his shoulders by Scottie Scheffler. He got the jacket taken away from him by Scottie. He put it back on. Is this the year we flip back and Scottie puts that jacket back on John as well?
Yeah, I mean, you can't count him out. Two-time major champion, right? Both the Masters and the U.S. Open. Last year at the Masters, he didn't fare very well. He had T45, but of course, like you'd said, the year before he'd won it. I'm going to take a look down his last 5 majors. Okay. Because that's the last 5 times he's played against, PGA competition, top competition in the world. So he was T7 at the Open last year. He got cut from the PGA Championship. T45 at the Masters, of course. A T2 at the Open. He really does love the Open format. And T10 at the US Open. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag there. Playing really well on link style courses, which usually have a lot of wind and weather that plays into it. So is that going to be something that bodes well for him this weekend? As we've already said that the weather's not going to be the greatest down in Georgia. I'm excited about him. I didn't sprinkle any money on him. It's weird. Like with the Live, I did sprinkle money on a few guys, and I feel like it was more just because they're my favorites over. I felt like they had a competitive edge over some of the PGA guys. It's hard to tell with the stats because it's not the same, right? And some 100%. Websites try their hardest to, make it relate toward, but it's not. It's not against PGA competition. It's not on the same courses. It's just completely different. So it's hard for me to get truly excited about live golfers, but we've already seen live golfers win majors in the last few years. So
100% and almost win. I mean, look at Phil at 54, however old he is now, getting a second place. He snuck
52 at the second place.
There you go. He snuck up last year and got a second place finish. And I mean, he's in the field again too. So you never know what's going to happen. My eyes are really on this next guy that I wanted to highlight here. Our guy, Waco Neiman, plus 2,800, and famously Phil Mickelson's favorite to win the Masters.
Yeah, I mean, he's in great form. He's won 2 out of his last 4 tournaments on Live. Taking a look at his last Masters appearances, T22, a T16, a 35, a 40, and a missed cut. Doesn't really give me a lot of confidence beyond thinking that he's kind of a 20 around to T20 kind of guy. But I mean, his last 5 majors, similarly, if you're on Live, you're not playing PGA all the time. T58 at the Open, a T39 at PGA, a T22 at Masters, a missed cut at the Open, and a T32 US. He's not playing his best golf in major season. It gives me zero confidence. I think that tweet from Phil, or that post on X from Phil, however you guys want to call it now, was really just to get people talking about Live. And that a lot of what they're doing is just trying to create noise around their product, right?
Yeah, 100%. I would agree with you on that. But the only thing I would say back to that is that, I mean, when we lost Waco to Live, he was kind of what I would consider like the beginning of a rising star in the PGA Tour. He was someone that we opened our eyes to and we were watching very closely, and then he left. So we kind of got our eyes off of him, right? It seems to me like his game has continued to develop, and he's now playing the best golf that I think that Waco has ever played. And right now, arguably, is playing the best golf out of everybody on the Live Golf Tour, right? Like, I mean, like I said before when we were talking about John, like I haven't watched much of Live. I've watched, a day here and there, but never a full tournament. What I did watch was the Live Duels, right? On Grant Horvat's channel.
I watched that too, yeah.
I mean, Waco's form looks great. His swing looks beautiful. I mean, he lipped out 3 chips on a tough course. It's one of those things that I think that even if Phil didn't tweet that out, the stats don't lie in terms of the form he's in coming into the Masters week. And I think that, do I think he's going to win? No. But do I think that he's someone that we should keep our eyes on? Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, like a top 20 bet wouldn't bother me, right? It's just, what do those odds look like? He's plus 2,800 to win, plus 450 for a top 5. So your top 20, you're probably looking at minus 100. I just don't know if that's worth it for a Joaquin Neiman, that you just don't know what you're getting. Yeah. I agree with you. He was a rising star, and I really don't follow Liv to that level to understand how impactful those 2 wins are. Yeah. Right? Like if those two, like if he shot a -9 on one of those courses to win it, and like that -9 would only be a T12 on tour if there was a full course of, tour players. Are we even talking about Neiman leading up to this? Or is it because Phil put a text out? In my head, I'm banking on those wins don't matter as much as PGA Tour wins. And that's why I'm discounting him, but maybe I'm wrong for doing that. I mean, sound off in the comments if you think I'm not putting enough respect on his name, but I'm just not there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's move on to someone who I am all there about. And this is, not a rising star. This is an absolute star and a major contender. I'm talking about the 5-time major champion, Brooks Koepka.
Stud.
This guy lives for major championship golf. It's in his blood. It's in the air that he breathes. Brooks Koepka at plus 3,000. What do you think about Brooks coming into this week?
I'll be straight up honest. I've sprinkled a little bit of dust on Brooks Koepka there on that 3,000 to win. Like you said, 5-time major champion, doesn't have the Masters under his belt and doesn't have the Open, but he's 2-time US Open, 3-time PGA champion. He's got some good finishes at the Masters as well, with a T2 a few years back, a T7 about 5 years ago. Few missed cuts though in between.
He also famously has a second place in 2019 when he of course ultimately lost to our guy Tiger Woods. So heartbreak for Brooks. It was great for the entire golf community, obviously seeing the redemption of Tiger Woods, but he's been there, man, and he's been there like you said 2 years ago in 2023. He was in second place as well.
So let me bring this. I sprinkled money on him, but this next stat didn't give me any confidence. Okay. So talking about last 5 majors, okay? The Open, 43rd, US Open, 26th, PGA, 26th, Masters, 45th, Open, 64th. He has not had a very good year and a half of major seasons. Part of me wonders, is that because of the he is the one guy that went to live and probably, I don't know if this is true or not, but is more relaxed than others. I see Bryson on live still grinding, still in the lab, sending his YouTube videos out, trying to get that 0.7 of fucking ball spin. And I don't know if Brooks is that level anymore.
I think that's been the kind of Brooks persona since he came on tour.
He just tries at majors.
That's right? it. That's it, man. This guy doesn't care about normal tournaments. And I think what Liv did for him was give him the ability to be more relaxed. He really doesn't give a fuck, you know what I mean? And he can give a fuck less now. And I think 100% I'd be a little bit worried about his last year. But the year before that, he showed up at all 4 majors. Yep. So, it's kind of one of those things, when Brooks is on, he's on, and when he's off, he's off. And I think he's honestly been a little bit more relaxed this year through Liv. I don't follow Liv religiously, but it's not a name that I've heard. It's not like he's headlining Liv like you're getting out of, the Johns and the Phils and the Wacos. So I really don't know what to expect out of Brooks, but I'll tell you right now, there is not a single major season that comes past me that I don't put a little sprinkle on Brooks.
Yep.
Every single time. You have to, man. And it was one of those things, when he won his last major and he got up to 5. In my mind, it's really hard because a lot of the comparisons then go against Rory, right? Yep. And Rory definitely a more decorative winner on the PGA Tour, but Brooks has more majors. So when you look at who is the best player of our generation, the best major champion of our generation is Brooks Koepka. That's without a doubt. So plus 3,000 a win, I thought it was a no-brainer to sprinkle a little bit on him for sure. Yeah.
Is Phil Mickelson still in our era? Because if he is, I would like to challenge you by saying Phil Mickelson might be the best major champion of our.
I put Phil in Tiger's era.
Me too, but he's still there. He's still doing it. He won the U.S. Open in 2021.
Yeah. You know what? And that surprised the absolute hell out of a lot of people. That was huge. And then to come out last year and get a second place, and like nobody was talking about
That's what I'm saying.
No, I remember on Sunday being like, "Is that fucking Phil?"
You want to hear something?
Nobody was talking about.
Want to hear something crazy about Phil in the Masters?
Yeah.
This will be his 32nd Masters tournament. So in 31 tournaments prior to this year, he has this as his record, okay? He's been the one-time low amateur, right? 16 times. So over 50% of the times he goes in the Masters, he top 10s. 12 times top 5. He had a T2 at 52 years old, and he's a 3-time Masters champion. Put some fucking respect on those calves.
Yeah. The coffee-fueled calves, baby.
Oh, my God.
He also played really well. Excuse me. I really do like this new transition of Phil, and I think this is something that Live Golf kind of freed up with him as well. I mean, when you talk about Phil, you think about like, you know, the nickname Fig Jam, right? Fuck, I'm good. Just ask me. You know what I mean? Like, Phil isn't the absolute favorite player when it comes to the locker room. You know what I mean? I mean, famously, Rory McIlroy on Netflix, you know, with that "fuck you, Phil" call out. And I mean, it's just one of those. I think that going to Live has freed Phil up. Definitely, he's a real cocky bastard still, and that comes out on X or Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it nowadays. But I really love what he's been doing with Grant and with YouTube Golf, and I truly feel like Phil's not just a great major champion. I think that Phil would have been the greatest player to ever play the game if it wasn't for Tiger Woods. And I think that Phil, in his older age, is continuing to find his own version or his ways that he can give his knowledge to the next generation, and he can continue to grow this game that we love.
Yeah.
So 100% put some respect on Phil's name in that aspect.
Yeah. And I think the really good champions aren't great people. Like Michael Jordan was a horrible person, horrible teammate. People hated him, but he demanded the most, the best every single day. Practice, game, playoffs, doesn't matter. He wanted the best out of you, right? And I kind of see that in Phil in a sense where like you kind of gotta be that little bit of cocky to continue to play that. You got to believe in yourself. And like there's got to be a point where it starts to rub off on your personality because you are that way when you don't need to be.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, YouTube has just found a way to bring out the other side of Phil that's been there the whole time, but we're only ever seeing the competitive in the zone Phil, and people don't like competitive in the zone Phil, but he doesn't want you to like him. He's against you in a golf tournament, and I kind of respect that.
I see a lot of similarities also in our guy Bryson to Phil, right? I mean, when you talk about like the misunderstood player, doesn't have the most, I don't know if respect is the right word in terms of the locker room, but definitely misunderstood in terms of how much Bryson analyzes the golf spin and the ball. Like we've all seen that video of Phil talking about chipping the ball and into the grain and how like he's a very, very analytical and he knows technical mind, like to
connect the information to you that makes sense, right? Everyone's had a friend try to teach them something on the course, like just drive through it. Well, show me what that means. Don't just tell me that. That was the most frustrating thing when I was first starting. Drive through the ball. Tell me what that means. I still to this day, no idea what driving through the ball means. Keep saying it. Just show me, please.
Dude, I remember the first year I started, a buddy was trying to explain to me what it meant to compress the ball. Yeah. And I thought that meant I had to push the ball into the ground. Yeah. So I just started hammering my irons down, thinking it would compress the ball in between the dirt and my club. Yeah, that was wrong.
Yeah, no, that's not going to work.
But
right?
yeah,
they'll 100% connect that information to you.
I think that technical mind sometimes can be misunderstood into like arrogance, and I think that going to Live and having the freedom on YouTube is something that's allowed us to see a different side of both Phil and Bryson, and it's a side out of both of them that I like for sure.
I mean, talking about Bryson, since we're on the subject, I love you, Bryce. Plus 2,000 to win. I sprinkled some money on my guy Bryce as well.
You got sprinkles everywhere. It's just raining in the strangest household, eh?
I did too much. Okay, let's talk. Two-time major champion, right? U.S. Open champion both times. T6 last year in the Masters. A few missed cuts in between there. He's been doing decent on live, right? A few top tens, a 5, a 6. Looking at the last 5 majors going down this list here, didn't do well in the Open, missed the cut, but he won the U.S. Open last year, second on the PGA Championship, T6 Masters last year, and then a T6 the Open the year prior. So doesn't do well at the Open, which, again, windy conditions might be a little frustrating for my thought process in, it's not great weather for this week, but I had to sprinkle a little bit on Bryce.
See, I stayed away from Bryson. Obviously, the T6 last year, very impressive, but that followed up 2 missed cuts in a row. And like you said, he does not fare well in the Open with the windy conditions. I think that with Bryson, he gets over analytical sometimes. And whenever the golf course is throwing a variable at him that makes his mind do too many calculations, it starts to throw him off. And wind is one of those variables that he just can't control. Mm-hmm. And then when you're going on all of his different balls, like he's gonna spend all those hours in the lab. He's gonna figure out exactly what distances he's going, exactly what lofts, exactly what spin rates, and then the wind is going to change everything. And that's one of the most beautiful things about golf, is that it is always different. Like, this is played outside. The conditions are consistently different. And these over analytical kind of players obviously can figure it out and it works, but golf ultimately comes down to a feel game as well. And if you can't change your game to how the course is playing that week, and also, of course, famously, a par 67.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was some famous words that he said before missing the cut, which was hilarious. But I had to stay, those 2 missed cuts, the windy conditions and him not faring well in them really, really pushed me away from Bryson this week.
Yeah, I mean, I would love for him to win the Masters with a shot, like a score of 67 on the last day. Like, that would just be the bad par. Yeah, right? Like, just walk out to it and be like, I parred it, guys. And, putting that jacket on. I don't know. I love Bryce. I pretty much put money on him and Brooks every single time there's a major, just because they're my boys, which is funny because they're not really boys in real life. They might be more boys now, but obviously there's the huge famous kind of scuffle between them before the live thing happened there. But yeah, I mean, I love Bryce. I always got to show him some love. So
let's move on. Yeah, we can't talk about every live golfer, but just to kind of round out that list, we also have Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, Tyrrell Hatton, Sergio Garcia, Bubba Watson. Like, this field is stacked with live golfers
and major winners.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see exactly how those live players stack up this week going against the PGA Tour guys. So
somebody, I was listening to something and they said that if over the last 5 years, or I think it was 5 years, you bet Patrick Reed to top 20 the Masters, and you bet Scotty Scheffler to win the Masters each of those 5 years, and he won it twice, you would have won more money with the Patrick Reed top 20 bets. Yeah, because he's just been top 20ing the Masters like nobody's business.
Always smiling at his Masters dinner too, so good on him. Good on him. So let's get back to the PGA Tour, because there's a few more players that I really wanted to highlight that were at the top of the betting list.
Yeah, I'm going to go through. I have 3 names here that are near the top of the list that I'm trying to stay away from on bets wise, and I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about them. And I just want to know your opinion on these golfers here.
Yep.
So we're going to start off with our guy who debuted in the Masters last year with a second place finish, Ludwig Aberg. So he's at plus 1,600 to win. He's at a plus 290 for a top 5. And I don't have any confidence in his game after, the way he's been playing. And he has a win this year. So I'm going to go through this, some of the stats, some of his, his finishes here. So coming off of 2 straight cuts, a T22, a win, and a T42. He's 9th strokes gained off the tee, 99th strokes gained approach, 56th around the green, 120th putting, and 70th strokes gained total. For him to be that high up on the betting table there, I think it's a lot because of his second place last year. I do not have any confidence in Ludwig. and I'm staying as far away as I can from him this week. But I know a lot of people love him, and I know that you like. I don't know if you like his game for Masters this year, but what are your thoughts on Ludwig?
Yeah, I mean, I've been very vocal about how high I am on Ludwig as a player, but I cannot agree with you anymore on how low I am on him going into the Masters. I think that he's definitely high up on that list with his second place finish, right?
Yep.
But when you look at the other majors that he played, I mean, his major debut, second place at the Masters, then he missed the cut at the PGA, T12 at the US Open, missed the cut at the Open. So, I mean, he does not have the greatest major record. I know it's only 1 year under the belt, but every single year means a lot, especially when it comes to the majors. And this is a golfer that's coming off 2 missed cuts, like a missed cut at the Valspar, a missed cut at the Valero. He does not have a great major record, and he does not have a great record this year. He's not playing his best golf, right? So I agree with you 100%. I couldn't stay further away from Luddy. It pains me to say that, but I wouldn't touch him.
Yep. No, I fully agree with you. Okay, moving on to the next 2 on my list for people I'm staying away from here.
Okay.
And then we can kind of move back into who we really like for this week. But I have Xander and Hideki both on my do not touch list. So I'm going to go Xander first, then I'll go into Hideki, and I kind of want to hear your opinion on both of them. Xander, of course, is a 2-time champion, right? Major champion. He's got the Open and the PGA both from last year. Last year at the Masters, he was T10. He had a missed cut in between a T3, a T17, and a T2. He does well at the Masters. This year so far, he had a T12 a few weeks ago, which was his best finish so far. A 72, a T40, and a T30. His stats don't look great coming into this. Strokes gained off the tee at 164. A strokes gained approach, he's 3rd in the field, so he's, got a good approach game still. Around the green, 165th. Putting, 166th. And strokes gained total, 132. I'm out on Xander. He doesn't seem to be back in form after his injury. Definitely out on him. And then Hideki, Olympic bronze medal champion. Okay, nobody gives that enough respect.
I don't.
The Olympics.
I don't.
And I didn't enable it for Xander because he just got those 2 majors last year. But I wanted to put that in there. He's got a bronze medal.
I don't know if I would call an Olympic bronze medal champion. I wouldn't put those words in the same. The Olympics are really cool because it's the only time that we celebrate losing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every other
second,
PGA,
3rd place, and they love it and they want it and they're happy for it.
Yeah. Buddy, if second,
that's why I said champ.
If you got a silver medal for second place, Tommy Fleetwood would have so many fucking medals around his neck he couldn't walk straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like we don't celebrate seconds and thirds. He's not a bronze medal champion. You got 3rd place in the Olympics. I wouldn't personally put too much weight on that.
Well, he's a Masters champion too, but I did want to put the Olympic bronze in there. I mean, he won the first tournament this year, but since then he hasn't been in great form. The last 5, he's been cut, T22, T13, T25. Last year's Masters, 38th, 16 the year before, 14 the year before that, a win, and then a T13. So he's got some really solid, finishes there, but stats-wise, 95th strokes gained off the tee, 34th approach, 3rd around the green, 82nd putting, and 13th strokes gained total. I know Hideki didn't have a great year leading up to his win at the Masters, and so that kind of throws a little wrench into things. It's just I don't have any money on Hideki. I'm kind of staying away from him. At plus 2,800.
Yeah, I didn't look at him. I don't have a single stat on him because I didn't look at him at all. And I mean, when we were talking about Hideki a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned, it's one of those names that when I see it on the list, I never give it respect, and I don't know why. I mean, you just back that up with a lot of stats on why I don't. Hideki's one of those players that is consistently in the middle to the low of the pack and then just has these breakout weeks. And I'm not in the business of, guessing what that breakout week or predicting what breakout week Hideki's going to have. So I historically just stay away from him all the time. He's going to have those breakout weeks. He's going to prove me wrong. I'm going to eat my words. this isn't going to be another one of them. I mean, big respect for him that year that he won the Masters, and him and his caddy, you know, they bowed to the course. That was a beautiful moment, and it was great to be able to see Hideki rise to the top and rise to the occasion and win the Masters. But again, that would have been one of those random predictions, and like, who would have guessed it? Not me.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
Yep,
So,
nope.
I mean, Hideki, if you win this week, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to play the guessing game here. Absolutely not.
No, that's fair. I mean, famously, you were upset after week 1 when he won the first tournament because we didn't have him on the fantasy team.
Yeah,
but since then, he's cooled off. So it's, you know.
I mean, fantasy-wise, it's a little bit different when you're looking at the different players that you have to pick in these brackets. And I still liked him in that bracket. But, yeah, betting him in the bracket is just to make the cut consistently and keep adding money to our bankroll. But betting outright is a whole
other
different story. So, yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about Hideki there. Xander as well. I'll kind of touch back on Xander. I mean, Xander's really struggling to follow up his 2024 season, right? I mean, historically, like you said, he does play well at Augusta. I mean, he's got what, 4 top 10s in what, 6 appearances, right?
Yep.
So just doing quick math there, guys. Sorry there, but I mean, he's not playing well this year either. A T30 at the Century, a 40 at the Palmer, 72nd at the Players. His best finish so far is a T12 at the Valspar. Like, maybe that means that he's trending up. I hope so. But again, it would have to be that kind of prediction and that guess that trending up is going to be what peaks here at the Masters. And I just don't see it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the Masters is not a coming out party. It's a solidification of the best current golfer. And the last 5 years, you know, save for Hideki's year, that's been the case, right?
For sure.
Even going back to Dustin Johnson, like he was destroying that year, right? And, you know, Scotty's years, that was just solidifying.
If I remember that correctly, too, that's the year Dustin Johnson reached #1 in the world.
Yeah,
right.
That's
so
what I'm saying.
I mean,
it was
100%.
All of like the past few winners have really been just solidifying their stance as one of the best in the world. And yeah, if Xander wins this, it's solidifying it. It's just, it feels like all of those people were in a better spot coming into the Masters, and we all thought they could do it. Wanted that, you know what I mean? Like, if they do it, this is solidifying it. If Xander does it, it just proves that it doesn't matter how you're doing leading up to these tournaments, that, you know, a major champion is a major champion, and we got to respect that. So I think that'll be the difference.
100%. So let's talk about someone then who is playing their absolute best golf right now and who I absolutely love looking into the Masters this week.
Yep.
Tanner, I really have my eye on Collin Morikawa coming into this week. I mentioned earlier in the pod that little birdie that gave me that tweet that shots gained tee to green is the most important statistic coming into the Masters, and right now Collin is #1 tee to green. He has only gotten better every single time he's played at Augusta. So starting back in 2020, he was 44th. 2021, he was 18th. Then he finished 5th, 10th, and then 3rd, of course, famously last year. At plus 1,600, I love Collin Morikawa.
I'm not going to lie. Collin Morikawa, so there's a few things here. Number one, he's one of my favorites this week. I've sprinkled quite a bit on Collin Morikawa. He's my second biggest bet under Rory. There's a few things here. So number one, he's not just played well at the Masters, but he's playing extremely well currently. 5 tournaments, T10, T2, T17, T17, and a T2. You said that he's first in the, on tour with tee to green, correct? He is 12th off the tee, first strokes gained approach. He's second strokes gained total, 59th putting, so there's a little bit of wiggle room there. 34th around the green, still elite status. He's playing some of the best golf of his career. There's only one thing that kind of throws a little bit of a caveat in there for me. And it's that comment that this isn't a coming out party. This is a solidifying the best of the best. Collin Morikawa hasn't won since COVID.
Right.
He hasn't won a tournament when people are on the golf course. Fans are on the golf course. At Like, are we really leaning on him to win his first tournament in 3 years at the Masters? I don't know.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely. Yep.
I mean, I have money on him to win. I think the better bet, the better money is top 5, top 10, right? You're still getting plus 240 top 5. You're still getting, I think it's plus 115 at top 10 for him, or it was minus 115 at top 10. I'm not sure on that one, but I feel like the win, is a little stressful, but I mean, I've already put my money on it, so it's
100%. And I think the big similarities, obviously, there's big differences in terms of having patrons on the course and actual people watching. Because you're absolutely correct. And we had this discussion a few weeks back on, is Colin just a COVID golfer, or does he have what it takes? I think the similarities between the years that he won his majors and this year, like Colin Morikawa used to be referred to as the greatest iron striker on tour, and you just named a whole lot of statistics that back that up. Like, I think that we've gone through a full years where there was a lot of question marks on Colin's game, and I think that, his performance so far this season has been backing up that his performance is there. I don't think that there's been a year that I've watched that Colin's been more ready for the Masters and more ready to be able to win his next major and prove to everybody that he has what it takes, not only to win on tour, but to win on tour when the moments matter and when the people are watching. Like I said, I'm very high. I'm right there with you. Colin Morikawa is definitely appealing to me, especially at plus 1,600.
Yeah, I mean, I've sprinkled a little bit of fairy dust on Colin Morikawa. I'll be really excited. I think like if he has, or if any of my guys I've sprinkled on have like an insane day one and they're leading the leaderboards, I might just take a cash out on that and just be even and hope one of the other ones wins, right?
Double down somewhere.
I've been
That's my problem. I'll just take it and put it somewhere else.
I like dumped a bag of fairy dust on a bunch of players. That's my issue right here. And one of those is Justin Thomas.
Interesting.
Sprinkled a little bit of fairy dust on our guy Justin Thomas at plus 2,200 to win. He's at plus 360 for a top 5. 2-time major champion, right? He's won the PGA twice. Gone low on hard courses this year. He's gone very low on hard courses this year. Last 2 years of the Masters don't bode very well for him, but his career in the last 2 years didn't bode well for him. He had this kind of like an up and down arc in his career, and it feels like it's on the arc back up, in my opinion. Few missed cuts last 2 years. He has an 8th, a 21st, and a 4th sprinkled in the Masters in the last 5 years. Last 5 tournaments on the PGA: a second, a T33, a T36, a T9, and a T6. He's 8th for strokes gained approach. He's 8th strokes gained total, but he's a little bit iffy off the tee. He's 111th on the course off the tee. So if he's going to get into trouble off the tee, it could ruin his chances this year. I just feel like he has had a really good year that hasn't been rewarded with a win yet, but there's been 2 good chances that he should have won already on tour this year. And if he did win those, we'd be talking about him much differently. His odds would be much different. And I just felt like he needed a little sprinkle.
For sure. And I mean, Augusta is one of those courses that the beauty in Augusta is that it can challenge the best golfers in the world without having to ramp up the conditions. Okay. And the nice thing about that is we're not going to get that US Open style high rough, right? So Augusta definitely has a lot of places that you can't miss, but there's also a lot of places that are good misses. And that's where that, the shots gained off the tee doesn't worry me all that much with Justin, because if he's missing in the right spots, he's still going to shoot well at Augusta. To me, I mean, I 100% agree with you. It's been beautiful to see the 2025 kind of return of Justin Thomas and see him start to get back into form. And I agree with you. I think that he's trending up. It's definitely that time, I think, of, if he was a stock, I'd be buying, right? Yeah. Seeing him come up. Am I buying his stock for the Masters? No. I'd buy season stock on Justin. I think that he's getting there. I think that he will win this year on tour, I don't think it's going to be a major. Like it's still that kind of eye test thing for me in terms of I haven't seen enough out of him yet. And I've seen too much heartbreak and too much bad in the last few years that it's going to take a little bit more out of Justin for me to start putting money back on him again.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, it's exciting. It's funny. We're going through this, and I feel like in our 20s, 10s, and 5s, we're going to have at least one or two, probably two that are the exact same. It'll be interesting to see what our third is. I feel like we both can probably say that we've locked Rory and Colin into our 20s, 10s, and 5s somewhere. But I'm interested to see what your third is going to be. But one last person I've sprinkled on, I just want to kind of give him a little bit of love here.
Buddy, you remortgage the house or what? Jeez.
Listen. Okay, when you do a little decent on, the March Madness there, you just start sprinkling. You just start sprinkling. Every win on March Madness was like, oh, I'll take an extra 20 and I'll drop that there, and I'll take a 5 from this and put it on a long shot just to have some fun. And I'm having a little bit too much fun on Masters Week, my friend. A little bit too much, but
let's see what you got.
Same name game, Shane Lowry.
My guy.
So let's just talk about Shane Lowry for a second, because I think he's one of those people aren't really thinking about, but he's having an insanely solid year. 3,500 for the win, right? Plus 550 for a top 5. He is a major champion. He's got the Open. In the Masters, he's got a T3 3 years ago. 43rd last year, 16th the year before that. The 3's in there, 21st and a 25. So far on tour, the last 5 attempts on the PGA Tour, a T8, a T20, a 7, a T11, and a T39. He's playing some good golf. He's 49th strokes gained off the tee, 6th approach, 5th strokes gained total on tour this year. That's our guy, Shane Lowry. So I just think, he's a great long shot there. And I put a little bit of money on our guy Shane Lowry.
I was just pulling back the odds because I was looking at Shane. And I mean, you mentioned. Hold on one second. Yeah, there it is. So I was looking at him in terms of the 20s, 10s, and 5s because obviously I've bet him a hell of a lot before, and he's definitely done well for me. I was looking at him in the top 20 mark, but he was way in the minus odds and the money didn't make sense to me. His history at the Masters didn't make sense for me putting him up in a 5 or a 10 spot. So to be honest with you, I stayed away, and we're going to get to this in a second, but absolutely. I mean, he, for me, was a lock at a top 20, but just the numbers, it wasn't right for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
I'm just showing some love to some of the guys that, we've been backing the whole year. So
beauty. Well, let's get into those. You ready for the 20s, 10s, and 5s this week? Because I think they're going to look a little bit the same, but a lot different going into this week.
Let's get into it. I'm excited about this one.
So I'm going to start this off, and I'm going to start off with my top 20 for this week. This is the first time I'm going to be betting in minus odds because, I mean, top 20 was just riddled.
It's all minus odds, dude.
But I picked a minus 105. For me, it was even money, you know what I mean, going into it. I picked Brooks Koepka at minus 105. Like, Brooks, like I mentioned before, is an absolute major contender. Even though he's not playing his best golf so far this year with LIV, and he didn't have the best history with, majors last year. I said it before, I'll say it again. There's not a single major championship season that will go past that I don't bet Brooks all 4 times. And at minus 105 even money, I figured that top 20 spot was the spot I had to put him in.
Oh, I love that. Okay. I love that. Love that for him. All right. So at minus 460 odds, I have Scotty Scheffler for top. No, I'm kidding. It was hard.
Oh, I was about to lose it on you, dude.
It's hard, right? So I'm going through the list, and I mean, my guy is minus 160. Okay. It's hard. It's hard to, bet a top 20. Many of the guys that you're getting good odds on, I didn't feel great about in a top 20 position. So I picked someone I felt really good about to get a top 20, and minus 160 isn't terrible because you can parlay that with something, right? So, I mean, I'm going with the 2 times major champion, I think recent form plus the old JT being back equals a Masters top 20 lock. Justin Thomas, do it for the kids, baby.
I love it. I love it because I would love to see that in there. The minus 160 odds for the top 20 is a little bit crazy.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It bugs me, but like I just didn't know. The odds were messing with me a lot for top 20.
100%. And again, maybe it's just me and my eye test. I don't see justification in those odds. I'm going to be honest with you. I love the pick. Would have loved it better at like minus 120 or something. Right. You know what I mean?
Or even 145 would have made more sense in my head.
Fair, but yeah. Hey,
I think they think the same thing, right? They agree.
At minus 160, I really hope that pays out for you because that's a gamble and a half.
It's a rough one. It is.
Cool. Let's move on to top 10. My top 10 pick, I know you're not going to like this, and I hope that he pulls this off so that I can prove you wrong. I went with the second live golfer in a row. Our guy, Waco Neiman, I have at plus 200 for a top 10. Like I said earlier, he's arguably playing the best golf of his entire career. He is playing the best golf on Live Golf Tour right now with the 2 wins this season. I think that he's in beautiful form and he is ready to come into the Masters and prove to everybody that these Live guys can still golf.
Well, I think if people want to chase the odds, they should be picking your picks here today because at plus 200, that's is that 200? Yeah, solid pick. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I feel like I see a T36 in his future. You know what I mean? But hey,
I think he either wins it or misses the cut.
Yeah.
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
We're going to find out. Bit of a gamble, but I really, really again, I go with kind of my gut feeling and just seeing really what did it for me. I was kind of on the borderline with him and I'm with you on, the Phil propaganda, we'll call it, but there's some truth behind the words that Phil's saying. Do I think that Waco is the number 1 golfer in the world like Phil thinks? No. Do I think he's the number 1 golfer on Live Tour? Yes. And do I think that he's playing better golf than a lot of the guys on the PGA Tour? Absolutely.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense for you to have him in a top 10 position if you feel that way, especially having Brooks in 20, right? So you're backing what you believe there. So love that for you. All right, so at minus 360, I have Scott. At plus 115, I got Colin Morikawa for a top 10, okay? I mean, we went through why we like Colin a lot. His prior finishes combined with great form. The Iron Magician, Colin Morikawa, is my pick for a top 10. Again, it's only plus 115 odds there. So you're not chasing the dragon with this one. I just think it's a solid pick. I think he is in amazing form. I've put a lot of money on him to win. So a top 10 is just me backing my own belief up a little bit further.
Hedging your bet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you with my top 5, I am chasing the dragon a little bit. And I talked very, very highly about him earlier in the pod. And I mean, you just talked pretty highly about him there for your top 10. My top 5 pick at plus 240 this week is Colin Morikawa. He is the number 1 golfer tee to green so far in 2025. He's finished top 5 in 2 of his last 3 appearances. Colin is back in top form, being one of the best iron golfers that we've ever been able to watch on tour, and he's doing that right now. I have Colin Morikawa as my top 5 pick this week.
All right. I love it. I was surprised you don't have Rory sprinkled in there.
The odds, man. The odds.
I understand that. In my head, so I think Rory has the best odds out of the entire field to win this tournament. And I've put my money where my mouth is, literally. And it would be foolish of me to try to chase the dragon and say that anyone else could be the top 5 for me. It is Rory, right? Plus 115. You're getting plus odds for a top 5 for arguably the number 1 golfer on tour this year. Scotty, him. You're getting plus 115 odds to get a top 5 out of, in my opinion, the best golfer this year. 4-time major champion, right? I mean, you're not wrong in thinking that the Masters has really been his Achilles heel all the way back to 2011, like we talked about, right? He hasn't won a major since 2014. Zach Johnson has won a major more recently than Rory McIlroy has.
That's wild.
That's
just
insane.
a wild stat, man.
But in 2025, Rory has been playing like a man tormented by his prior attempts to secure that Grand Slam. I think this is the year that he finally does it. We've been saying this is the year of Rory. It's time for him to show us why. It's top 5, Rory McIlroy.
I absolutely.
I got chills. I love Rory right now, dude. I got chills.
I love it. Great, absolute great pick. I love that. I mean, it's funny. It seems like every single week we at least have one name on there that's very similar. And it kind of sucks for me that if my Colin bet cashes, obviously your 10 cashes for him as well. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely love the lineup that we have. Absolutely love that we've been able to sit here and talk about my favorite week in the Masters. And I cannot wait to get this viewing started.
Oh, I'm calling in sick Thursday, Friday. Sorry. One more. I got a little bonus bet for the kids.
All right, give
little bonus bet. Top 10, Phil Mickelson plus 700 odds. Okay, we went through this earlier. This is his 32nd Masters tournament. He's been the low amateur 16 times inside the top 10, 12 times inside the top 5. A T2 at 52 years old just a few years ago. 3-time Masters champion, an Open champion, 2-time U.S. champion, including a win in 2021. Phil Mickelson. Top 10 plus 700. That odd was just insane for me, and I absolutely loved it.
Plus 700 is borderline disrespectful.
He's got 50% top 10s.
Great bet. Great bet.
All right.
I love it. All right, brother. Well, I think that does it for this special edition of the Masters Week. Have a great time viewing the best week of the year, and we'll see you next week to talk about it.
Love you, Bryson.